Welcome back once again, everybody, to North American Online Qualifier Cup 2. I am Josh Allen, a.k.a. Lore, joined once again by Jared Colston, a.k.a. VHEL. We've got two teams that have already qualified. They will be moving on to the Americas Regionals, but we still want to find out who wins the Cup 2. We've got to find out who our grand final champion is going to be. So we're going to have Tempo Storm versus Rise of Lesac, and I'm really, really interested in this match.
This comp. So Tempo Storm is running Holy Paladin Arms War Enhanced, so good time to get Elite in at this point, you know, because Starship did a great job of almost carrying the team to victory. I think he played incredibly well. And of course, Rise of Lesac is running the old school Rogue Druid.
Oh, this is funny.
I haven't seen Rogue Druid in a tournament since MLG San Diego in 2007? Yeah. 2008? Yeah.
It's been a while, yeah. it's been quite some time. So yeah, Rise of Lesac deciding, you know what? Let's do this. We gotta pull it out at some point. So just show that we can. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this actually works out for them in this grand finals match. Of course, both teams have already qualified, so they don't have to worry about not qualifying at this point. But we'll have to see what they're able to do here in this Rogue Druid combo. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so this is the grand finals. We need to crown a champion, like we said. Both teams have qualified, which is awesome so far. So these teams can kind of, maybe they don't want to show their hand and they want to, you know, just play something else entirely. But again, we're going to put all these VODs up, so you're going to be able to see how they played anyway.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, so we will be getting into this match here very shortly, just as soon as both teams are ready here for the grand finals of North America Online Cup 2. Of course, keep in mind that there will be another online cup coming up the week of August 15th, and signups for that are actually already open. So for any of the teams who've already been knocked out today, you can already go ahead and sign up for the next online cup, or anybody who hasn't
if you haven't yet. This is for qualifying at regionals, which has a $50,000 first prize, $100,000 prize pool. So if you're on the fence about it, maybe I don't know if I'm going to, but look at all these new names that we're seeing come out right out of the woodwork and are qualifying. So anyone has a shot at this.
Yeah. Yeah, so the signups are available. If you're watching this on Twitch, there is a link down below the video player that you can click on that will take you directly to where the signups for Cup 3 are. So definitely go ahead and check those out. But we will be getting into this match here on on the Grand Arena. Sorry, some of these player names are kind of funny.
I'm actually not sure which rogue this is. I didn't see a second rogue listed on their roster. So I would assume this is Wealthy Man. But it could be Versace on it also, since that's their fourth member. And of course, said Elite, we've seen him before. And of course, we are going to see Peekaboo's Warrior, Ill-Minded Boo. And Jamili's Enhancement Shaman named Dampener. And of course, against that Rogue Druid. So we'll have to see. I think their plan is to use all the cooldowns as fast as possible as Rogue Druid and try to force something out and then just run away.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they could do, but I mean, it's a lot of burst right from, look, as Cubsy is going to try to, he gets taken out immediately. They are going to hit all their toys from the start, which looks like what's going on. Yeah, and it looks like Ill-Minded Boo, there we go. Now he is going to try to find his target as he does get the, looks like they are going to go for Cubsy. It's going to try to hit him for a bit, but they're not having much coordination as Dampener, there we go. Now they're going to connect onto him straight from the start as Dampener or Jamili not even using Shamanistic Rage just quite yet. So that's pretty good as he does get Cyclone at half, as we do have the Kidney on to Elite right there.
Yeah, Dampener just trying to hold on to his Shamanistic Rage as long as possible, I think. Plus, I feel like both these teams are they're happy, they've already qualified. We're probably not going to see super serious play out of these guys, which is cool. They're just going to have a little bit of fun with it, which is pretty awesome. But Dampener now caught into that Kidney shot with Elite having used that Avenging Wrath already. Is going to be totally fine for now. They're just trying to turn this around onto whoever this rogue happens to be. We're still not entirely sure which player from Rise of Lesac he actually is. But no, he's going to be totally fine.
Yeah, as we do see Peekaboo on Warrior trying to find his target. It doesn't look like he's having much luck as he is just getting snared over and over. As Cubsy right there might be a target because he's standing in the face of Peekaboo, but it looks like both rogues. See, I would expect both rogues to be connecting onto a single target as Rosy's going to go through and kill all the totems first before, there we go. Now they're going to connect right back on to Jamili playing the Shaman, but he's able to get away.
Double dance coming out from the both rogues. They're trying to put some damage into, it actually looks like they're trying to go on to Elite right now.
They are. As Elite is going to use that Divine Protection and Aura Mastery at the same time, plus his Stone Form too, so this is pretty big. They forced a lot of cooldowns out, but on the back of these rogues is going to be a Blade Storming Peekaboo. But it looks like Elite is going to make it out there, and they're going to switch right back on. Oh, it looks like they are going to split, actually. This might work out well for them. Nope, it looks like they are going to go on to Elite, as they did kick him on Holy. This actually might not be good for Elite. There we go. Saved by the Light is going to proc, as he does have to toss out those wings.
Yep, both rogues now actually getting pretty low. Both Roasty getting really low there, down to about 13% health there for just a second. And White Shack having to get that Iron Bark there for a second just to keep him alive. Cubsy trying his best to keep him alive. Another Smoke Bomb's going to come out, but there's going to be a Blessing of Protection immediately onto Elite to keep him alive through that. And now Roasty, though, caught in that stun. The Shadow Dance is coming out from White Shack, but Roasty could be in a lot of trouble here. The stun coming out onto Cubsy as well. He might be able to go down here, but no, he is going to be able to vanish and get away.
The stun got bopped off, so Rosty's going to try to wait for a minute, get some heals, as Elite is trying to get a little bit of LOS going. It looks like he is going to, looks like they are going to go on to White Shack, though, as we're still not sure which rogue this is, as it looks like we are going to see the Shaman Rage finally out of Dampener, or Jamili, as the stun onto Elite also, as Cubsy is also going to get stunned, so maybe they can make something happen off this stun, as the Colossus Smash is going to fade, as the Hex is going to land too. There we go, first Hex of the game, as Rosie is going to get quite low, but looks like they are going to be CCing Peekaboo at that point, just keeping them in those stuns. Of course, no more bops left for Elite at this moment, but his wings are going to be coming back up quite shortly.
Yep. Just keeping up this constant pressure, Tempo Storm, keeping up this constant pressure on Rise of Lasok on both rogues. There's now the evasion coming out from White Shack. Now Roasty's maybe being the target of choice here momentarily as well until that evasion falls off. Cubsy into that Fist of Justice. It's going to fall off. They're not going to have any follow-up CC for him. Actually, the Cloak of Shadows coming out from White Shack just to slow down the damage that Dampener is able to do. Roasty's actually going to finally get topped off here, as well as White Shack. But that Fear comes out on the Cubsy. If they can follow that up with something, it does not look like they have any follow-up CC for that. And they're just trying to muscle through the amount of healing that Cubsy's able to put out.
Yeah, as again, lots of CC coming out on to Peekaboo, as he's not going to be able to connect to his target that consistently. Looks like they are going to be going on to Rosty's. Full blind onto Elite, though. So Shaman Rage is going to fade, and he does have Saved by the Light that procced already. So it looks like Jamili's Shaman would be a good target to go onto if they can connect to him, but he's doing a great job of just being so elusive.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's... I'm actually surprised that both rogues have lived this long. Cubsy's doing a great job of keeping them both alive. Of course, White Shack could be in a little bit of trouble here, but no, he's just going to go ahead and get some heals from Cubsy and be totally fine. Now a full blind onto Elite, who has no trinket. They're now getting that full kidney shot onto Dampener. He could be in some trouble here. The sap actually off of that blind from Elite, very, very well done by Rise of Lasok to be able to get that sap off of that blind. And now the full kidney shot onto him again. They should be able to finish Dampener off here. Sitting at 30% health. The Save by the Light is going to proc. And there's just no CC left for him, unfortunately. They're just not able to finish him. They just weren't able to put out the damage that they needed to be able to finish him off. So now the Avenging Wrath is active. The Shamanistic Rage is active.
Oh, they're going to go for Cubsy at this point, knowing that the rogues aren't that great of a target. And look at the damage onto Cubsy out of nowhere, having to Iron Bark. And no Bark Skin quite yet, though. So he was able to stave that. He might have to Bark Skin out of here, though, down to 90k, keeping himself alive in this giant melee cluster, as it looks like they are going to CC off Jamili, which is what they were doing quite well with those kidneys. Cubsy, there we go. Now he's going to have the Bark Skin out, as he is going to dart away. behind the pillar. That was a great job right there.
Yeah, and Roasty is actually trying to give him the Shroud of Concealment so that he could actually stealth and heal himself with that. It didn't quite work for him, but it was a fairly clever little move. Yeah. It would have been cool if that actually worked out for him. But Cubsy's still taking a lot of damage here. There's a gouge onto Elite. They might be able to follow it up with something, but no, it looks like he's going to just be able to get some extra heals off and top Dampener back up again. And so now Cubsy in a lot of trouble here. He's got that shockwave onto him. He's going to try and get out of there.
Yep, there we go. He's going to blink away, and he's now going to be behind the pillar by himself. Peekaboo just not making it to him quite yet. There we go. We have the Sham Rage Trinket, I believe. Yep, and the by Elite. So that bomb forced the Trinket at least and the Sham Rage. That was pretty good. As looks like a stun onto Cubsy, but it just looks like they aren't putting enough pressure out onto either of the Rogue in between those evasions.
Yeah, they did manage to get that Bark Skin out from Cubsy, and Roasty's sitting at about half health. And now we see the double dance coming out yet again. They may be trying to finish off Dampener here. They're doing a ton of damage through Elite's wings. Elite is just standing there spamming heals, and Dampener was still taking a whole lot of damage, but now both of those Shadow Dances have fallen off. And it's going to just be their normal damage yet again as these wings are about to fall off from Elite. They may be able to make something happen here. They got Kidney Shot out on both Dampener and Elite. If they can follow up on on Elite with anything, that could work. But no, it does not look like they're quite going to be able to get that off. There's a Garrote onto Elite. Ooh, and actually dipping super low. Dampener is going to eventually go down there. That was actually a ton of damage out of nowhere onto Dampener.
It was, and you know that the rogues were splitting at that point. It was a really smart play. Elite had one of the rogues sitting back as it looks like a res is going to be channeled. The rogues may have not
do they
seen
not
it.
notice?
Oh, as the double shadow step kick on to the res to stop that. As Elite's gonna do as much as he can because look at Roasty's health at this point. There goes the evasion yet again because Cubsy was in that stun.
Yeah,
the Fist of Justice.
They may actually be able to do this here. Roasty's down to 20% health, but no, now Cubsy's going to get some heals off.
Oh,
the Blessing of Protection comes out, but no, there we go.
I thought Cubsy was going to let Roasties die, but looks like he wasn't able to. All right, as Elite, so that is going to be Rise of Lesoc. That is going to take the first match.
Yeah.
Oh, as it looks like he did get the kill. As yeah, they're kind of celebrating their victories because, you know, both of these teams are extremely happy that they both qualified for so a little celebration dance going on right now as both Elite and Cubsy are chasing each other around. It looks like Cubsy is going to find out if Elite can solo. All right, as they chase each other around the pillar. It's like wow. There we go. As
yeah,
one person leave. So
yeah.
it's just down to Elite by himself against this rogue. He's actually doing quite well.
Doing surprisingly well, yeah, all things considered. But there we go. He is going to go ahead and drop out finally, and that's going to be the first game to Rise of Lesoc.
Yeah, and a lot of damage out on both teams. And it looks like Wealthy Man is going to be that rogue.
Yep.
So that, I mean, that was a great play. That was smart towards the end when Elite, they split and one rogue was kind of babysitting Elite, trying to make something happen, you know, sapped him. And then what I did like, though, was one rogue sapped and then got back into the fight. And then the other rogue went to go sap, you know, off of the sap. So sap off of sap. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was very, very interesting. Obviously, there was a lot of extra silliness going on in that match as well, because these teams, like we were saying, they're happy they've won. They're celebrating a little bit. So there was a little bit of extra silliness happening. But, yeah, no, there was I would say the middle part of that match, before, like, after the initial silliness and before the final silliness. That was actually a really, really good match.
It was.
It was fun to watch.
All right, let's see what they throw at us next. You know, having seen double rogue.
Yeah.
We'll see if what else they can play, because, you know, they do have that rogue. They have mage. I mean, maybe they'll play like double mage druid or like holy paladin resto druid. Oh, you can't play double healer, can you?
No, you cannot.
Okay, so you can't play double healer. So looks like Tolveron is going to be our next map. But of course, Tempo Storm can play a large number of things.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some Shadow Priest out of Jamili. Maybe we'll see some double rogue out of Tempo Storm. because I know that Jamili does like playing his sub-rogue a whole lot. So he actually played a lot of combat last season, too.
Yeah. Yeah, we could see basically anything. At this point, I don't know what to expect. Like, could we see basically anything out of any of these guys? It's clear that they are not above doing something a little bit silly in this grand final match. So we'll have to see what they end up doing for us here. As Temposor has selected the map Tolvaran, like you said. And we're just waiting to see what comp Rise of Lasok wants to go with.
Yeah. So, again, both teams have qualified. That means that now that we're waiting for our Latin American qualifiers, which have been going on. Again, guys, check out that tournament as it's on. It's called Copa
America.
Copa America. Yeah, yep. Those casters are awesome. They get into it. I mean, I don't speak, can't understand them, but their enthusiasm, and you can really tell when they're calling out for the kills and the amazing CC chains and everything like that. So, looks like we have Double Rogue again versus, looks like, Beast Mastery Hunter.
Interesting.
So Starship on Hunter.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
So this will be an interesting matchup. The maybe the Hunter is the secret to beating the Double Rogue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the flare, obviously, hard counter.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Or maybe they'll just try to kill him outright.
Yeah. Yep, so we will be getting into this match here very shortly, and we will see this next match between Rise of Lasok and Tempo Storm. Of course, Tempo Storm still playing that double rogue combination versus what we're now seeing as the Hunter Warrior Holy Paladin combo from Tempo Storm. We'll be getting into this match here in just a second as we are continuing through our grand finals of the second North American Online Qualifier Cup.
Now, I'm wondering, and this is a serious question, if there is a two sets of abilities that you could use, or two sets of talent setups on the different rogues, but it looks like Roasties isn't playing Glyph of Blind, but a Wealthy Man is. So maybe that would be the difference in this matchup if they kind of like staggered their talents to get an advantage, but I guess not. Cubsy is playing pretty standard. So we have so the big thing is, of course, our mysterious BM Hunter coming out, as he is going to be playing Barrage and Crows, of course, and with Thrill the Hunt instead of Dire Beast. So we'll see if that makes a difference, as looks like the one of the rogues did get popped out right from the start, as it looks like we are going to have a clone right away onto Peekaboo, as Elite is going to get CC'd by that kidney, as Starship is trying to waddle his way over. There we go. Now he's going to get those double roots off onto the rogue. That's what it is. The double roots and the flare. There we go. So this BM Hunter is going to have a great time against these, as he does get a trap off on Cubsy too. That was great. Yeah. As I believe it was a stun into a full trap, followed by the Fear of Trinkets with the NS, as Rosie is taking a whole bunch of damage, as looks like the Iron Bark comes out too. So the pet is going to get rooted off, as there we go. Now we're going to have the bomb on top of the Hunter, as Elite is going to get gouged also. So we are going to see the CC chain coming out, as wings come out from Elite. He did Trinket to try to stop that Cyclone. Stun out on Cubsy too with the double shockwave on, and followed by the trap. That was pretty good, as let's see if they can make something happen off of that, because they do have both of the rogues sitting relatively low. And there they go. The blind comes out, but not enough, as it's going to be Roasties on his own at this point, and he is just going to leave.
Yep.
So that was a great CC chain on Tecubsy, as it is going to be 1-1 now. Temple Storm and Rise of Lasok.
Yep. So that means that the next map will be Rise of Lasok's pick, and they will also have the opportunity to go ahead and do the counter comp if they want to. Mm-hmm. Maybe switch away from the double rogue. I feel like maybe the double rogue's been figured out at this point. They know that Hunter, like you're saying, the double trap, or excuse me, the double roots and the flare actually is really effective against that composition. Not that you'd really see a ton of either of these comps on the ladder, but still, it's interesting.
Yeah, I like that he was playing Warbringer with the Glyph of Blitz, so he could stun both rogues with the charge stun. That was pretty good. Yeah, so you saw the shockwave into the double stun, so that was pretty good. And it was a pretty big 92k Mortal Strike during that too. So yeah, looks like Tolvaran is next, which can't happen.
Yeah, no, it's been played. Yeah, so Rise of Lasok wanted to play on Tolvaron, apparently, but we have to let them know that that's not okay. They can't pick the same map yet again. So it's going to be Ruins of Lordaeron instead, which is kind of the opposite entirely in terms of map, but cool. That's interesting. We'll see what they decide to do with Ruins of Lordaeron. It's now up to Tempo Storm to pick their composition, and we'll see if they're going to continue with Rob the Hunter.
I bet they will. That went pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, if the only thing they can play is RMD, except for double rogue, I mean, that still would be pretty good against the Hunter, so I don't know. We'll have to see. This is a very important decision for these teams at this point, because, hey, we have to crown somebody the champion, and you can put that on your Twitch page.
You can. Yes, indeed. So Tempo Storm is going to play, they're going to go back to the RMD, and they're going to be playing Resto Druid, Frost Mage, and Subtlety Rogue. And Rise of Lasok also going back to the RMD.
So it is going to be the RMD mirror?
Yep.
So this, there's definitely a possibility that this match does go quite long, just because they are constantly looking for those kill opportunities, those windows.
Yeah.
So anytime that you have 2 charges of Ice Nova and the Rogue has Dance, and you set up a perfect CC chain on the enemies, but you can do things like the Mage can offensively block to stop something. You can have vanishes from the Rogue to stop the CC chain onto your Druid. So we'll have to see how this goes. This is so. While the first 2 matches were kind of like, oh yeah, this was fun, playing weird comps, this is kind of like I'm the better RMD at this point.
Yeah.
Like, even if one is messing around, they could be like, well, we beat you in a mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So there's certainly some serious bragging rights on the line here going into this. And it's also interesting because there is, depending on how the tournament structure for the regionals ends up working out, which I'm not sure about right off the top of my head, there is actually a chance that these teams end up facing each other, even with these players at regionals. Mm-hmm. So this is sort of an opportunity for both teams to kind of learn a little bit about someone that may end up being their opponent at the Americas regionals later on. And when there's $50,000 for first place, like that's, you want any single advantage that you can get in that situation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we have the ANZ and Latin America team, I'm pretty sure that seeding, I would assume it's probably going to be random going into it, just because we have 2 teams that just haven't faced off of anyone at that point. So there's a definite possibility that these guys are going to be playing against each other. Like I said, a lot of bragging rights for the team that can win at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, we could end up seeding off of ladder rating as well.
That is true.
That, which is, of course...
Since they all play on the North American ladder, so that's good. Or the American ladder, rather. All right, so right out of the start, looks like Peekaboo is going to be kind of hiding a bit. No, he's going to get right into it. Wow, he does get the fan off. He found new kind of presence of mind to find where those enemy team was. But look at the damage rate onto Wealthy Man as Jamili is going straight for the kill. Looks like a deep is going to land on the Starship, though, with Roasty's dancing. Getting that, the sheep onto Starship out of that blind, too. Forcing a cloak out of Peekaboo, but he's still taking a ton of damage, so cloak and evasion had to be used by Peekaboo right from the start. Still taking a ton of damage as Starship was in, had to trinket a 1 second cyclone right there at the end as Peekaboo's going to dance almost defensively at this point. Oh no, never mind, he's going to force the block out. I thought he was doing that so that he could just break up the pressure, but...
Yeah, no, that was actually a really scary moment for Tempo Storm, and like you said, Starship had to use his trinket there, which is so important in this matchup because of the sheer amount of CC that can go out. Now we see like simultaneous deep freezes onto both healers. It's going to be a Ring of Frost onto Starship, but that does get broken right away as Cubsy was sitting through a polymorph as well. Jamili does have this Ironbark active. Starship was able to get that onto him. So Jamili seems like he's probably doing okay for now. And once again, they're going to try and turn that around and put some pressure onto Wealthy here, who is still taking a lot of damage. Cubsy does still have his trinket available, so they should be totally fine if that CC chain does come out. But Wealthy wants to hold on to his remaining block as long as possible. Of course, Jamili does still have both of his ice blocks available, both his ice block and his cold snap.
This was really smart. So Wealthy or Roasty's pushed up, which forced Jamili back and Starship back, and then they immediately swapped to Pika, who is out by himself in the middle. So that was a really great play. Just identifying that the Rogue was kind of out of position. But again, look at all the damage and CC coming out from Cubsy onto Cubsy. That was Trinket followed by a clone, so that was pretty good. But looks like he is able to heal up Wealthy Man almost up to full at this point with a cloak from Roasties to stop CC, as they are going to switch it on to Cubsy at this point. The Bark Skin does come out, but Cubsy is so low right now. But we did see some CC on to Starship too, so they're just trading back and forth at this point. Deep onto Roasties, which gets immediately dispelled.
Yeah, Jamili down at 10% health though with that Iron Bark active. He's trying to hold on to that Ice Block as long as he possibly can. Actually going to try and get a Ring of Frost out there and move away just a little bit. He's at 5% health and still hanging on to that Ice Block. Did he forget that he has it? Like, what's going on? There we go. Now finally using that Ice Block. That was super scary. At 3% health, hanging on to that as long as he did. And now Peekaboo, though, in a lot of trouble, just getting completely dominated, and down he goes.
And with the deep, wow, look at that. That was a great match. Went back and forth, both of these RMDs. 106k Ice Nova from Wealthy Man. Wow.
Yeah, and an 80k Eviscerate from Roasty as well. Yeah. So that's some damage. That's some damage right there.
That is. Rise of Lesak doing a great job. You know, that really went back and forth. I liked the strategy changes mid-fight. Identifying that Cubsy could be a kill target. And they went on him. I just didn't think the damage was just quite there throughout the whole team, you know, because they immediately were turning the damage back around onto Jamili, who lives at 1% with a block available for so long.
Yeah, it was interesting that he held on to it that long. I mean, like we said, they're not super worried about losing this series, but still.
No, that was good though. I mean, when we watched him on camera, you know, he did have a ring down, and Roasty's Shadow Step wasn't up at that point, so he kind of knew that he was going to be fine.
Yeah.
He was out of line of sight. His healer was sitting through CC, and he was almost out of CC. So, you know, that was pretty good, holding on to the block as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, so we will be getting Tempo Storm's match selection. That is going to be Dalaran Arena, Dalaran Sewers. So we will be going into that next. And now it will be Rise of Lesak's turn to declare their composition. They're going to stick with the Rogue Mage Druid. And Tempo Storm's going to stick with the same composition as well. So very quick choosing process here. And we can go right into this match here in just a second.
Maybe Tempo Storm kind of baited them into playing silly the first map, right? And then they were like, okay, we'll put a Hunter in. This is funny, Hunter, haha. And then they went and they're like, wait a minute. And now that we have the momentum, we'll switch to RMD. We'll win the next one, and then we'll close out the series, no problem. Before they realize we weren't kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a little bit of a mind game going on there. This is a best of 5, and we're now 2-1 for Rise of Lesak. So if Rise of Lesak wins this one, then that will be the grand finals, and they will be our champion of the second online qualifier cup. Like you said earlier, that's something you can put on your Twitch page. That's something that you want to be able to have the bragging rights of. It's not just that you made it to regionals, but also that you beat everyone else in this tournament. So
it looks like the big change for Peekaboo is he is going to be playing Glyph of Energy Flows along with Glyph of Energy. So Energy Flows, sometimes when you see those crazy initial bursts by rogues, it's because you're hitting them while they're evasioning and you're just feeding them tons of energy. So we'll see if that plays a role in this, if Roasties goes to attack into it at all during this match. And of course, pretty standard out of everyone else. Double Dispel on Cubsy though, and Starship is choosing to play a single Dispel instead, as it looks like they are going to go on to Jamili right from the start. Oh, wow, and blocking right away.
That was every single cooldown except for Starship's Trinket too. That's Heart of the Wild, Nature's Swiftness. That was everything on a Jamili there. And also
but they're going to turn it right back around onto Wealthy Man, as he is going to get down to 100k, and it is also going to block. So this is a fast match. The blind is going to be onto Starship though at this point, but look, they're going to turn around onto Roasties, and they're going to clone him at half, which was pretty good, as Peekaboo is going to pull back. They are going to get a stun onto Cubsy at this point, as Wealthy Man is looking to deal some damage into Jamili, who's in the bomb. Now let's see what Peekaboo is going to be doing, as he is going to looks like he's going to vanish, but wow, second block out of Jamili with the clone from onto Starship that forced that. Not a lot of heals out. The triple treants are coming out to add a little bit of heals in case he does get CC'd, but it looks like Rise of Lesak came out better overall.
Yeah, definitely. The Ironbark is now coming back up for Starship as well as the Nature Swiftness, so they've got a little bit more panic buttons available at this point, but that is both ice blocks for Jamili, so if Starship gets caught into another long CC chain, which we might be seeing here, no, they do not have a follow-up for him.
Peekaboo hasn't done anything for the longest time. We've had him on camera, and he's going to re-enter the battle. He's going to step over to Jamili and get on to Wealthy Man at that point, as Wealthy Man gets a huge Nature Swiftness heal out of Cubsy, as it looks like his dance is going to fade as the clone on Roasties is followed up by a sheep also. So we'll have to see the next offensive onslaught onto these mages, who's going to win out at that point.
Yeah, Starship is caught into a polymorph right now. He's going to come out of that, but immediately get put into the deep freeze. Jamili now in that cheap shot could be in a lot of trouble here. He's got the Garrote as well, and he's just going to go down.
That was it. Yeah, that second block, that was an incredible amount of damage right at the start out of the team of Rise of Lisok. I think it kind of threw him off. I mean, look at the damage difference, though. Like, the hardest damage hitting ability of that match was Peekaboo's Eviscerate, but Peekaboo almost had no time on target in the second half of the match. Yeah,
it only takes a little bit of time, though. Like, as soon as he actually was able to move in there, he was able to do a little bit of damage. But that does mean that Rise of Lisok is going to be our grand champions, winning 3-1 over Tempo Storm here in the grand finals. And that's going to wrap up the second North American Online Qualifier Cup. Congratulations to both of these teams, both Tempo Storm and Rise of Lisok, for qualifying for the Americas Regionals. And we're going to see them again later this year, where they'll be competing over their share of that $100,000 prize pool, as well as that potential trip to BlizzCon for the chance to compete over the $250,000 that are available there. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks so much to GCD TV for all the efforts that they've been putting into this. Remember, you guys can check those guys out at twitch.tv/GCDTV, or also follow them on Twitter at GCDTV_. There's a little underscore on the end of it. Make sure you don't miss that. Thanks, Jared, so much for being here today and helping cast. Of course, you can follow him on IMVHell on Twitter. You can follow me at CM_lore. This has been an absolutely amazing tournament.
It really has. Great matches all around. We saw some tournament favorites kind of get knocked out early on, but again, Tempo Storm making it and qualifying, which is great to see. Jamili, Elite, Peekaboo, and Starship, along with Rise of Lisok, which are our tournament champions. Of course, that is going to be Roasty, Wealthy Man, and Cubsy. Didn't see anything out of Versace, though. I was expecting that in the finals, but loving that our Rogue Druid towards the end. So those were some great matches to finish out the day.
Definitely. So once again, that's going to wrap us up here today. There will be another Online Qualifier Cup coming up the week of August 15th. We'll be broadcasting here once again on Twitch TV. That will be again at 2 p.m. Pacific time on August 15th. So definitely check that out. We will see you guys there. Any of the teams that were eliminated today earlier on, they will have the opportunity to compete in that online cup. And there will be 3 teams that qualify from that cup instead of just the 2 that we had today. Now 4 teams have been picked for regionals. These 2 teams, along with Is Butter a Carb from the first NA Online Qualifier Cup, and BBAU from the ANZ Qualifiers. We're going to see all of them at America's Regionals later this year. Thanks again so much for everybody hanging out and watching today, and we will see you guys on August 15th.